There is a time and a place for everything. And so when it comes down to not even the concept, the reality of minding your business, is recognizing that you can only truly be doing one thing at a time. Your mind, you can think that your mind is five places at once, but your mind cannot be in five places at once. When you are truly minding your business, then your mind is doing one thing at a time. Something that has been coming to me since I've been back from Africa, where my trip was, how much not minding my business was ruining my life in so many different ways. When I would think about minding my business on a surface level, I would have said that I am someone who is very good at minding my business. I thought I really was minding my business. And that's in like not having certain conversations with people, noticing when someone was bringing something up and it had nothing to do with me, not looking left, right, up, down. Like really, I was looking at it from the physical aspect of minding your business. But considering that we are energetic and spiritual beings with physical vessels, minding your business extends so far beyond, really. Minding your business, you know what? We just gonna leave it. I'm gonna just leave it like that. Minding your business extends so far beyond what you are physically doing. This is, where is your energy flowing? Who and what are you thinking about? Where are you inserting yourself energetically where it does not serve you to be there? Down to concerning yourself with even the health, safety, and well being of others when it truly has nothing to do with you. That is not minding your business. There is a difference between assisting and caring and nurturing when it's called for. There is a time and a place for everything. And so when it comes down to not even the concept, the reality of minding your business, is recognizing that you can only truly be doing one thing at a time. Your mind, you can think that your mind is five places at once, but your mind cannot be in five places at once. When you are truly minding your business, then your mind is doing one thing at a time. So if you are thinking about what your mama ain't done for herself, what your spouse hasn't done for themselves, or even I'll extend this to what my issue was as a space holder, overly concerning myself with my clients in moments where my clients were not present in front of me. Some people will call that consideration. I realize this is not minding your business. You are not present, and neither are they. So, this is not the moment for this to be happening. So, that's what I mean when I say there is a time and a place for everything, and we can only be doing one thing at a time, meaning we really can only be thinking about and concentrating on one thing at a time. If whatever it is that you are thinking about is not in front of you, and you are thinking about it, allowing yourself to go there, right? Like allowing yourself to fall into rumination over it. I'll even say, hello, you have officially stopped minding your damn business. And that's what it is. Um, so when we do that, I say we because this is something that I'm noticing more and more. Like you get to these subtle layers of self recognition and the noticing of self. On the surface, it may seem as if this is not happening in your mind. But if you are finding that you're having difficulty thinking about yourself, remaining, keeping your thoughts of you and what you need, and of your care and your well being, considering yourself, if you are finding that your thoughts keep going to places other than you are not minding your business. So the question becomes, how much of your thought energy are you using to mind other people's business? This also extends to, to like a level of projection. when you concerned with why somebody else is doing what they doing the way that they doing it, or why this is working for them and not for you, or why somebody can do this and you can't. Like these subtle thoughts, these very subtle thoughts, you are not minding your business. Okay, and so now what happens when you do not mind your business for an extended period of time? What happens? You spend enough time not minding your business and you begin to become confused. That is one of the roots of confusion. Confusion, the what I want to say, lessons about confusions, downloads about confusion, thoughts about confusion have been coming to me often. One, in making sure my mind is right, but two, just because of where we are collectively, the mind, the health of the mind is coming up for question for us collectively. And there are many, many people out there who think that their mind is healthy. But if 90% of your day is spent not minding your business, then we need to reevaluate. If 90% of your day is spent thinking about what other people are doing, what somebody said to you, why this, why that, and things that have nothing to do with present moment you, things that you can't do anything about, these things are not in front of you. You are quite literally entertaining illusions. And that is not a healthy mind. That's not a healthy mind to spend your entire day entertaining illusions and being immersed in a world that is not real. The world becomes real when you become present. So the what is up for evaluation for us collectively is the health of the mind. And really taking stock of what our minds are doing, why our minds are doing it, where your mind goes, why your mind is going there. The why actually does matter. I used to think the why didn't matter. I used to think the why did not matter. But when you don't know why your mind is doing what it's doing, and this takes self evaluation, this is a process that I'm still in myself with peeling back the subtle layers of where my mind is going. Because when we sit in meditation and we do this and we do the breath work and we do the plant medicines and we do these practices, what tends to happen is we create a level of surface level clarity. But when we're speaking about the mind, it requires us to continue to peel back the layers to really get down to the why. And the why matters because when you know why, then you know yourself. You need to know why. You need to know why so that you can know yourself. When you know yourself, then you can catch yourself doing it and you can stop it. And truly, that's it. When I started my spiritual journey years ago, one of the very first books that I picked up was Dr. Joe Dispenza's Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. It left me for just a moment. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That was one of the very first books that I picked up. And inside of that book, he gave an entire framework for changing your mind. Now, it took me years of running in circles. You know what? Let me stop saying that because it was not running in circles. My journey had to be what my journey was. But years later, I find myself right back where I started and recognizing, oh, here we are again at the mind. Here we are again at the mind. When we start to observe what our minds are doing, this is from a place of non-judgment. This is from a place of just watching and taking notice and being like, oh, this is how I be thinking. Okay. It's good to know. You need to know so that when it's happening, you know that this is how you think. You need to know how you think. And so when you know how you think, then when you start thinking how you think, you can interrupt yourself thinking that way. The interrupting yourself thinking that way is to literally do something else, to bring yourself back into presence. And when I came back to that at this part of my journey, I was like, girl, that man said to do that years ago. That man said that that's all you had to do years ago. But the journey does what the journey needs to do. Something that came to me the other day as I was thinking about the mind and the way that our minds are so really such creatures of habit. As I have been taking time to observe my own mind, I recognize this is nothing but habits. We know this in theory, but the only way, or I'll say people believe this in theory, because me saying this is not the first time that you've heard someone say that the mind is habits, but it's so different when you sit and observe your own mind. You don't know it until you sit and observe your own mind. It is not applicable knowledge. When you observe your own mind and see your habitual way of the way the thoughts come up in cycles, it will probably blow your mind, because observing it, and this is a purpose of needing to sit and do it and to just watch yourself. Observing it is so different than thinking and believing it. People say stuff all day about the mind does this, the mind does that. You don't know until you observe your mind and see what your mind is doing. And it's not until you take the time to observe your own mind that you will even understand how to stop your own mind from doing what it's doing. This is not, you can read it in a book, but this is something that you can read the process of how to do it in a book, but this is something that can only truly be known. I'm not even saying understanding. Like, this is not an intellectual understanding. This is a physical knowing of what is happening in your mental space. So something that came to me the other day when I was thinking about relationships and the way that inside of interpersonal relationships, often people, when it's time for the relationship to change, even if the way that the relationship is going no longer serves a person, when it's time for it to change, often they'll feel guilty. They'll feel guilty for choosing themselves. They'll feel guilty um, for changing their behavior. And so I said, where does that guilt come from? Because if this is something that a person knows is best for them, if this is something that they know that they need, why would they feel guilty for doing what's best for them? And the answer that I received was because their mind has become so conditioned to relating to and operating with this person in this way, even though their soul, their spirit knows that this is not healthy, they have not convinced the mind that it's not healthy. The mind has not been broken out of that behavior long enough for it to not create guilt because it's doing something different, and for it to not create resistance and tension and negative feelings around something so necessary as choosing yourself in a relationship. And so then that led me to understand we give so much power. We give so much power to these feelings and these emotions that rise. Speaking about situations like this, when the issue is your mind has just been conditioned to do this one thing and you're doing something different. And now a feeling is coming up, an emotion is coming up because you're doing something different and your mind is not accustomed to it. So it creates an emotion in response to that. That makes sense? So that made me think about, wow, people, us are really out here not choosing ourselves in different scenarios because we have become accustomed to not choosing ourselves. Only because we have become accustomed to not doing it. Not because it's right or wrong. Not because you shouldn't, the mind creates all of these reasons why, and all of these storylines around A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When in truth, the soul and the spirit tries to make it very simple. Very simple. This is not good for me. I don't like it. It's hurting me. And the mind will create all of these reasons and storylines and resistance and reasons not to change and when it all boils down to you're just not accustomed to doing something different. And that is it. And so when I speak to changing your mind, this is what changing your mind is: changing your mental patterning. Changing the mental patterning is a matter of doing something different, but also recognizing that in the process of trying to do something different, your mind will resist you. It doesn't mean that the different thing that you're trying to do is wrong. It doesn't mean that it's not good for you. It will resist you. It will tell you, no, stay the same. No, this is not how we interact with this person because this is not our patterning. I feel bad. And you got to be like, oh, well. Oh, well, like recognizing this is like getting into the depth of knowing yourself. And only through self-observation can we do this. You can hear me say it out of my mouth, but you won't know until you do it for yourself, right? But getting into self-observation and recognizing why that mental pattern is even present. The resistance is the hardest thing to resist. Yeah. Why that mental pattern is even present. When you know why the mental pattern is present, or even just knowing that the mental pattern is present and recognizing it as this is not my truth, this is a mental pattern. That is also the medicine. The medicine is also, what is my truth? Is this my truth, or is this a habit? Is this my truth, or is this a conditioned behavior and belief? We have heard these things over and over and over, y'all. Something that just, again, continues to blow my mind on this journey. No matter what plant medicine I throw in my mouth, no matter what book I read, the truth is the truth. The teachings are the teachings. The teachings have not changed. I done sat with shamans of different lineages. I done went to different places in the world and sat with these shamans. They saying the same thing. They speak different languages and they saying the same thing. The teachings have not changed forever. But for whatever reason, we're not getting it. And what I have been receiving is the reason that we're not getting it is because here in, I'm gonna say in the West, we keep trying to learn these things theoretically instead of learning them experientially. We keep trying to read about the mind. You can read about the mind, but when you read about it, you need to do something about it. You can read about it, but when you read about it, you need to actually follow the guidance in that book and do the activities in the book to do it. But what most people will do is read about it and then go on and read the next book, and then go on and read the next book, and then go on social media and talk about it, and then go on and read the next book, and then teach their family and friends and tell them, well, you know, the mind, you know, the neural pathways will open up if you, and you know, you're just conditioned with your mental habits. But they have not sat with the practices to know this, to know it. And that is why, that is just why, that is just why, that is just why, right? So it's just interesting. It's interesting. And, you know, I'm saying the things, but y'all, I was the person that was doing it too. I was sitting with the practices that felt good. I sat with the practices that felt good. But I tell y'all, a practice that I was skirting for years is silent meditation. I skirted silent meditation for years because that was not a practice that felt good for me. Because sit in silence, why would I do that? Why would I do that? And I even believed that it wasn't necessary. Like I said, I have thrown multiple plant medicines in my mouth. It works. I received what I needed to receive. But like I said, here I am, right back where I started, with sitting still, being quiet, things that are free. I have spent thousands of dollars. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars traveling the world to heal. And it has worked. If y'all have been here since the beginning, y'all have seen me change. It has worked. And yet here I am, right back where I started with sit still and be quiet. Sit still and observe yourself. And this is the integration. This is the integration. Sit still and observe yourself and change what you hear. No more medicine will help you do it. The work is to sit still. So, saying that as to say, one of my life paths is to learn what not to do so I can then help people find the quicker way to get it done. That is one of my life paths, and that has been my healing journey, and that has been my work as a healer. I go in trial and error. I will go learn it the hard way, and then I go and refine it. And I give the medicine and I say, hey, you ain't got to do what I did. I tell you what not to do. I might not be able to tell you exactly what to do all the time, but I tell you what not to do. I know plenty of that. Right? So, gratitude for the very non-linear journey. But what I have found is, and I'm going to say it again, I'm right back where I started with greater determination, with a new awareness. And so sitting still and observing yourself works. I've seen it work. It works. It's working. It's working for me. It's working. My mind is changing. It's working. So if you are someone who is like, I want to do this and I can't afford it, and I want to do that and I can't afford it, sit still and observe yourself and then change. What a journey. What a journey.